Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more.
Barb really screwed up my plans and I ended up with 3 more dresses, 2 short sets, 3 pairs of culottes, and 2 rompers. She was just so helpful in picking outfits for me to try on, always coming up with something very girlish and frilly. She had me try on a silky mini dress with matching panties that Mom thought I looked so cute in, and a pair of white shorts with a pink, ruffled, tube top and a gauze shirt that was meant to be left open enough to show off my top. Barb was also nice enough to point out that I would need several more strapless bras to go with my outfits, and Mom was only too happy to buy more for me. I made a mental note to thank my dear sister as soon as I could. Mom let me pick out several pairs of girls' jeans to wear, saying that I would no longer have to wear dresses all of the time. I was happy to hear that, but when Mom left, Barb gleefully informed me that just in case I had any other ideas, she had no plans on giving up her new sister. With a wicked smile on her face, she told me that even though I could now wear jeans, I'd still look like a cute girl. She felt that it was the least she could do to help her little sister become a young woman. Over the next couple of weeks, my sister remained faithful to her promise of making a girl out of me. I wore jeans as often as I could, but I had to wear a girdle under them that shaped my butt and held my genitals in, making me look like other girls. My jeans were a small but important means of my remaining a boy, and like I said, I wore them whenever I could, but Barb kept after me and soon convinced me to give up my jeans because of the summer heat. I compromised and began wearing shorts and tops, but Barb often suggested we go places where shorts weren't appropriate, and before long I was also wearing sundresses and cotton skirts with bare legs. Barb wasn't satisfied with my wearing sundresses and summer skirts and began to pressure me to go to the local pool with her. I refused time and time again, but she was persistent and soon enlisted Mom's help. I would have loved to go to the pool since it was close to 90 degrees every day, but Mom and my sister wouldn't let me go as a boy and I wouldn't go as a girl. Finally, after the 3rd straight day above 95, I gave in. I just couldn't stand it anymore. Even in my shorts and gauze tops I was a ball of sweat. I knew I'd regret it, but I went to my room, put on my special panties and slipped on the bathing suit I had worn at camp. I looked just like any other 12-year-old girl as I walked to the pool with Mom and Barb, but I cringed any time we passed other people, certain that I'd be recognized as a boy. I didn't consider this to be giving in to being a girl, it was just the only practical thing to do. Besides, maybe if Mom saw me in a girl's bathing suit she'd have second thoughts. To be honest though, I was feeling so hot that I would have agreed to a bikini just to get to the pool. We made it to the pool without anyone giving me a second glance, except for a few boys who made a point of checking out Barb and me. I was a bit embarrassed by the attention, but relieved that they seemed to think I was really a girl. Once we reached the pool, Mom instructed me to lay out my towel neatly and unpack my sunglasses and suntan lotion from my beach bag. After unpacking, I had to apply lotion to my arms, legs, and chest, then sit still while Mom applied it to my back. She insisted I wait a few minutes for the lotion to dry before swimming, which meant listening to her comments about the bathing suits other girls were wearing and how nice I'd look in them. When the lotion finally dried, I dove into the pool, savoring the cool water. I swam back and forth and dove under a few times before taking a break. While sitting on the edge of the pool, I noticed several boys repeatedly diving near where I sat today. When I jumped in for another swim, they splashed around so much that I decided to get out and return to where Mom and Barb were sunbathing. "What's wrong, Mel?" Barb asked with curiosity. "I thought you were eager to get to the pool." "I was," I replied. "But those boys keep messing around right where I want to swim." Mom and Barb exchanged knowing looks and smiles. "Okay, I give up." "What's going on?" I asked, exasperated. "You really don't get it, do you?" Barb said, astonished. "I get that I feel awkward sitting here in a girl's bathing suit and can't swim because of those annoying boys," I retorted. "What secret about being a girl am I missing now?" "Calm down, Melissa," Mom said soothingly. "Barb is just trying to help." "Help?" The last time she helped, I ended up with a girl's bedroom and a closet full of dresses. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Barb giggled. Those boys clearly think you're cute. You've got to be kidding. Are they out of their minds? No, dear, Mom said. That's how young boys behave around pretty girls. You'll get used to it. Great, stuck in girls' clothes and now I have boys thinking I'm cute. To make matters worse, Mom thinks it's perfectly fine. I must be in the twilight zone or something. Come on, Mel, Barb said, taking my hand. I'll take you away from those annoying boys. I pulled my hand back. This was my chance. Never mind, sis. I'll be fine. I smiled, tossed my hair over my shoulder, and walked back towards the boys, trying to mimic the graceful gait I'd learned at camp. If Mom wanted a daughter, I'd give her one to remember, and I'd be back in boys' clothes before the afternoon was over. I strolled back to where I had been sitting and jumped into the pool. It didn't take long before the boys were back, diving across me to get into the pool, accidentally splashing me, and generally being a nuisance. As soon as one mustered the courage to look at me, I flashed him a smile and said hi. Before he could respond, a girl's voice from behind told him to get lost. I turned around to see a girl about my age glaring at the boys in the pool. She introduced herself as Kate, the sister of the boy I had smiled at. She mentioned that if he was bothering me, she'd tell their mom, and he'd get into trouble. I assured her that they weren't causing much trouble, just acting like boys. I guess you're right, Kate said. I just wish they wouldn't act so weird all the time. That's what makes them different from us, I replied, reflecting on how I used to be different just a few months ago. I actually kind of like the difference. We chatted for a few minutes until her brother Tim mustered the courage to come out of the pool. He sat next to Kate but kept staring at me. At first, it was a bit uncomfortable every time I looked his way. He had a goofy look on his face. However, I soon discovered that a smile from me would make him blush and look away. Since Mom and Barb were watching, I played along with the little game. Tim would stare at me until I smiled, then he'd act like he was looking at something behind me. After about 10 minutes, he gave up and went back into the pool. I was a bit sad to see him go. It had been a fun game, and I enjoyed the attention. It wasn't that I wanted a boy interested in me, it was more about proving I could blend in as a girl, as they said at camp, better to be seen as a girl than a sissy. Tim and his friends could have caused trouble if they had known I was a boy, so I played the part of a girl, and it clearly worked. I was too young for dating, and girls avoided Kevin, so it was a new experience to see how girls could affect boys. I wondered what might have happened if I had sat closer to Tim. If I had to be a girl a little longer, I figured I might as well explore this mysterious power girls supposedly had. I returned to where Mom and Barb were sunbathing and took a seat. Mom looked up and smiled. It's nice to see you making friends, Mel. Her name's Kate, I said absent-mindedly. She seems pretty nice. Barb, with a mischievous grin, asked, who was the boy you were flirting with, little sister? Oh, that was Tim, Kate's brother, I replied, trying to stay calm. But I wasn't flirting with him. Mom laughed and gave me her usual let me tell you something smile. Maybe you didn't think of it as flirting, but you definitely had that young man's full attention. I'm not sure, Mom, Barb continued. I think Mel knew exactly what she was doing to that boy. Are you jealous, Barb? I teased. Worried I'm better looking than you? Well, if you're so confident about your looks, I have a dare for you. Barb replied with a smirk. How about wearing one of my two-piece suits tomorrow? Unless you're not up for it. I'd love to, Barb, I said, trying to mask my apprehension. I hoped Mom would think we were getting a bit carried away and decide to cancel the whole thing. Great, Barb said. You can try on a couple when we get home. I'm sure we can find one of mine that looks good on you. I have an even better idea, girls. Mom interrupted. After dinner, we'll go to the mall and get Melissa some of her own. There's no reason she should have to borrow an old suit when she can have pretty new ones. That sounds like a great idea, Mom, I said, still trying to stay one step ahead. Do you think I could get a couple of string bikinis while we're there? Mom looked at me and smiled. Not for a couple more years, sweetie. You're much too young for anything that sexy. This wasn't going quite as I had planned. Mom was all too happy with the idea of me flirting with boys and seemed more than willing to help me. I'd just play along until I saw the opening I needed. Of course, this afternoon was supposed to be that opening. At least I wouldn't be getting a string bikini. I went straight to my room when we got home and started to change for the mall while Mom made dinner. I decided that since the shock of flirting didn't bother Mom, I'd go for a little subtle pressure. I plugged in my electric curlers, pulled on another pair of cash panties, then a pair of teal blue regular panties with a matching half slip and bra. Sitting on the bed, I pulled on a pair of pantyhose, then slid a light blue, cotton dress over my head. The dress was a simple one that Mom had bought for me the last time we went to the mall. It was sleeveless with what was called a dropped waistline that extended down to my hips where the skirt started. After making sure my slip and the straps of my bra didn't show, I sat down and began to fix my hair. While I waited for my hair to set, I started to examine the things on my vanity. I had everything a girl my age could use: lipstick, blush, liquid makeup, eyeshadow, you name and I had it. It seemed a shame to let it go to waste, and I thought it might just help with my plan, so I did what several months ago I would never have dreamed of doing: I started putting on makeup. I remember my lessons from camp and used just a little liquid makeup with some blush and lipstick. I finished with my makeup, took out my curlers and brushed my hair into what I thought was a cute style. I stepped into a pair of blue flats and set off for dinner, wondering how my mother and sister would react to the way I looked. Mom's face lit up like a searchlight when she saw how I looked. Barb just sat and stared, speechless for once. "You look wonderful, Mel," Mom exclaimed. "She right, Mel," Barb said slowly. "You really look great." "Thanks, I just sort of felt like getting a little done up." "Does it look okay for the mall?" "Certainly," Mom said. "That dress looks very nice on you and your hair is perfect." "I could do your hair if you want, Barb," I offered. "This is a bad dream, right? My little brother is offering to fix my hair." "But Barb," I said as sweetly as I could. "You don't have a little brother, remember? What's wrong with getting some help from another girl, even if I am your sister?" "Be nice to your sister, Barb," Mom said. "She's only trying to help." Barb finally relented and promised to let me do her hair after dinner. I'm not sure why, but I was actually happy she agreed. I really wasn't trying to be smart. For the first time in my life, I wanted to do something nice for Barb. Dinner was great, even if it was only macaroni and cheese with hamburgers. Mom, Barb, and I talked about how much fun we had at the pool and how great it felt to cool off. They teased me a little about Tim, but I didn't mind. I never really talked with them much before, and the teasing was all in fun. After dinner, Barb and I went to her room, and after setting her hair, I picked out an outfit similar to mine to her to wear. She seemed a little reluctant to undress in front of me, but finally gave in and began to get changed. "Do I have to wear a dress and stockings? What's wrong with a pair of shorts and a top?" "Oh, come on, Barb. You know Mom will get a kick out of seeing us both dressed this way. If I can manage a dress and stockings, surely you can." Okay, I'll wear them already. But first tell me what you're up to. Why the dress and what's with the hair?" "Nothing's going on, Barb. I just felt like dressing up nicely tonight," I said, though I could tell she was skeptical. It was true, I genuinely felt like dressing this way, and surprisingly, I liked how I looked. My goal was to show Mom that I was going along with things, hoping it might make her ease up a bit. Once dressed and styled, I thought I looked pretty good, considering. As I did Barb's hair, we chatted like real sisters. I discovered that she wasn't the monster I'd always imagined, but actually a decent person once you got to know her. She shared her likes and dislikes, including her struggles with school and boys. I had always thought she was a straight-A student who loved school, but it turned out she hated studying and only enjoyed her friends. Now, with a new school and no friends, I felt a genuine pang of sympathy for her and wanted to help, though I wasn't sure how. While Barb waited for her hair to set, she started changing into the outfit I had picked for her. I began to turn away, but she kept talking as if it were normal to undress in front of me. I figured this was another test and managed to keep up the conversation. When she finished changing, I removed her curlers and styled her hair to match mine. After a quick mirror check, she turned and hugged me tightly. "You're really a dream come true, Mel. You've become the cute little sister I always wanted. We're going to have so much fun together. Couldn't I just be the sweet little brother you've always wanted?" I asked hopefully. "I promise I'll be good." "I'm sorry, Mel, it's just not that simple. You've promised to be good before. Mom has gone through a lot to set everything up with school, and I'm not sure it can be changed. If I were you, I'd just relax and enjoy it." "Easy for you to say," I sobbed. "You're supposed to be a girl. I'm supposed to be a boy, but here I am, all dressed up as a girl, hoping no one will notice." Barb wrapped her arm around me and held me close. "I understand, Mel," she whispered softly. "But since you wouldn't behave as a boy, you're going to have to be a girl. Trust me, no one will notice anything wrong. You're the sweetest, cutest girl in the world." Barb's comforting hug made me feel better, but it didn't change my situation. I didn't want to be a girl, but it was becoming easier and more natural. I didn't think about the changes much, they seemed to happen on their own. I adjusted my dress automatically, smoothing the skirt and pulling it down. When wearing slacks, I crossed my knees like any other girl. This afternoon, chatting with Kate and Tim, I felt incredibly at ease, as though I had always been a girl. The 3 weeks at camp taught me far more than I realized. I could coordinate outfits, style my hair, apply makeup, and even feel comfortable in a girl's bathing suit. A girl I had just met treated me as a friend, and I enjoyed the attention from her brother. The changes had been small and gradual over the months, but they made me feel increasingly like a girl. We finished getting ready and went to the mall to pick out some bathing suits for me. Mom decided she needed a new outfit, so Barb and I went off to get what I needed. During the ride here I felt sort of stupid. This whole thing seemed so bizarre, a 12-year-old boy shopping for a girl's bathing suit. After a couple of minutes in the juniors department though, I relaxed and started to have a good time. Barb would pick out some truly ugly style or color for me, and after making the appropriate looks of disgust I'd do the same for her. One suit she held up was sort of nice, but pretty though it was I just couldn't picture myself in a string bikini. It was a cute shade of pink with a top that would barely cover the pointed chest I didn't have, and the bottom had only a small piece of cloth on the front and a strap for the back. Besides being a bit underdeveloped to wear it, I couldn't see how anyone could get used to having that string sticking in their butt. I found a pink 2-piece suit that seemed to have plenty of material for the top and bottom, besides coming with a pink lace cover jacket. Barb picked out a teal blue suit that had a short skirt attached to the bottoms and a ruffle across the cups on the top. I liked them both, so we took them and headed off to find Mom. Mom was thrilled with our choices and told me how pretty I'd look in them and how I'd be the center of attention for the boys at the pool. I wasn't really looking forward to having boys looking me over, but then again things didn't go so badly with Tim. When we got home, Barb and I hurried off to my room so I could model my new bathing suits. I was having so much fun that it didn't occur to me that I shouldn't be dressed this way until I was standing in front of Mom. She seemed so pleased with the way I looked though, so I forgot my concern and we had a wonderful time with me striking different poses to show off the figure I didn't really have. The next afternoon at the pool I ran into Kate again and she introduced me to some of her girlfriends. I got a lot of compliments on my outfit from the other girls, which made feel pretty good. Before, as Kevin, no one ever seemed to care what I wore, and I felt the same about what other guys were wearing. Now though I felt nice to be complimented, and I was noticing what the other girls wore and telling them how nice they looked. Of course Tim was there with some of his friends, and as soon as he saw me with Kate he came over to check me out. I felt strange when I saw Tim coming towards me. It was like I was a bundle of nerves and my heart was pounding. I couldn't believe what I was feeling. I really wanted this boy to notice and approve of me. I knew I shouldn't feel like this, but I still liked the feeling. Tim was excited to see me and spent a little time chatting before he headed back into the pool. My new friends and I hung out for a bit before deciding to join in for a swim. A few minutes later, Tim and his friends proposed a game. Each girl would get on a boy's shoulders and try to knock over the other girls. The last one still standing would be the winner. Kate and the others thought it sounded like fun, so we picked teams, and I ended up with Tim. Not much of a surprise, right? I was having a blast, and Tim and I seemed unbeatable until Kate snuck up and managed to pull me off Tim. I emerged from the water looking like a drowned rat but happier than I'd ever been. Afternoons at the pool had never been this much fun. Feeling a bit waterlogged, I joined the other girls on the grass to work on my tan. A good tan seemed crucial to them, and I didn't want to be the exception. Kate helped me apply more sunscreen, and then I lay back to bask in the sun and the occasional appreciative glance from boys. By the end of summer, I had a great tan and several new friends. Kate's friends accepted me as one of them, and we spent our time talking about clothes, movies, and, of course, boys. I felt a bit awkward at first discussing dream guys. What was I supposed to say? The idea of finding some other boy cute or dreamy didn't sit well with me. Sure, I thought Tim was nice, but he was more of a friend than a dream guy. I couldn't quite figure out why I felt so nervous and happy around him. Maybe I just wanted to make sure he didn't figure out I wasn't really a girl. As summer drew to a close, I found myself still in the role of a girl. It didn't bother me as much anymore. After all, it had been nearly 5 months since Mom first put me in a dress. I'd asked her several times to let me go back to being a boy, but she always smiled and reassured me that everything would be okay. I didn't fully understand what she meant, but I hoped she'd change her mind before it was too late. With school approaching, I dreaded the thought of returning as a girl. Yet, with Barb and me already having our school uniforms, it seemed I'd be Mel a little longer. In a way, I was okay with that. I'd miss my new friends too much to go back to being Kevin. The first day of school arrived all too quickly. I couldn't believe summer was over. It had flown by. I woke up, plugged in my curlers, and headed for the shower. Mom had added a new item to my beauty routine over the summer, shaving my legs and underarms several times a week. As I let the conditioner work on my hair, I lathered up my legs and underarms and used my pink razor. At first, it felt odd to shave my legs without needing to shave my face, but Mom insisted it was necessary to look nice in dresses or shorts. I could have skipped shaving today since I'd just shaved 2 days ago, but I wanted to look my best for the first day of school. After finishing with shaving and doing my hair, I dried off, slipped into a pair of white nylon panties and my robe, then went back to my room to set my hair and get dressed in my uniform. My new school is private, and both boys and girls have to wear uniforms. Boys are required to wear grey slacks, a white shirt, a burgundy jacket, and a grey and burgundy striped tie. Girls, on the other hand, wear a grey pleated skirt, a white blouse, a burgundy jacket, and a grey and burgundy tie tied into a floppy bow. As a junior high student, I have to wear either white or burgundy knee socks with my uniform, while Barb, being a high school freshman, can choose between knee socks or stockings. Sometimes, as I go through the hassle of shaving my legs, I find myself wishing I could wear stockings too. It's a strange thought for a boy, but occasionally, I can't help it, and it unsettles me. I take off my robe and put on a plain white bra, then step into a white half-slip with 2 inches of lace at the bottom before pulling on my skirt. I button my blouse and adjust it by holding up my skirt to smooth out any wrinkles. Once that's done, I put on my knee socks and finish with my hair. A little brushing is all it takes to make my hair look nice, and I add a burgundy silk scarf tied in a bow for a final touch. Even though I'm a boy pretending to be a girl, I want to make sure no one can tell. Since makeup isn't allowed at school yet, that saves me some time. I slip into black penny loafers, put on my blazer, and head down to breakfast. When I arrive at the table, Mom and Barb are already there. Seeing Barb in her uniform makes us look like real sisters. Mom notices this and proudly tells us how happy she is to have such beautiful daughters. I'm pleased with how I look this morning, so I just smile and thank her. After breakfast, Mom asks us to close our eyes until she tells us to open them. I hear her leave the room and return shortly after. When we open our eyes, She hands us each a small grey purse with our initials on it. This will help keep you organized at school, Mel, Mom explains. You can't carry everything in your blazer pockets, and your skirt doesn't have any pockets. I could have argued that I wasn't a girl and didn't want to carry a purse, but upon reflection, Mom was right. I'm going to school as a girl and need to carry essentials like a brush, mirror, tissues, all thoughtfully included in my purse, along with pencils, pens, and other items. The purse is cute, with Ma in a fancy script on the front. Thanks, Mom, I exclaimed, hugging her tightly. This is perfect and so pretty. I just love it. Are you sure? Mom asked, tears in her eyes. I didn't want you to feel silly carrying a purse. I'm just trying to help. Standing in front of my mother, dressed in a skirt with my slip brushing against my bare legs and my long curly hair touching my neck, I realized that I was starting a new school year as a girl after spending the summer fully immersed in that role. I had worn nothing but girls' clothes, gone to the pool in a bikini, and made several new friends as Mel. For the first time, I understood that Mom's efforts were genuinely meant to help. I loved her more than ever now. Mom and I hugged for a few more minutes, and I gave her one last kiss before gathering my school supplies. With just a few blocks to school, Barb and I slung our new purses over our shoulders and started walking. We laughed and chatted all the way, something we'd never done before. Lately, I've felt a growing closeness with Barb. We spend a lot of time talking in our rooms, discovering how much we didn't know about each other. It's surprising how quickly we're becoming friends, making up for lost time. We had to part ways at school since we'd be in different buildings, but we promised to meet for lunch. I said goodbye and headed into the junior high building to begin my first day as a girl. I found my classroom and chose a seat at the front of the room. I used to sit as far back as possible, but today felt like a fresh start, so I decided to do things differently. I hung my purse over the back of my seat, smoothed out my skirt, and began rummaging through my purse for a pen. A few minutes later, a girl and a boy walked in and took seats on either side of me. I was too preoccupied with my purse to notice them until a familiar voice said hello. Looking up, I saw Tim sitting next to me with a grin. "Do you come here often?" he asked, his grin widening. "You can't pick up girls at school, you twit," came another familiar voice from the other side. I turned to see Kate smiling at me. "Hi, guys. I didn't know we'd be going to the same school," I said, surprised to see my friends from the pool. "You can't get rid of me that easily," Tim joked. "You'll just have to marry me." "Sorry, Tim," I replied with a warm smile. "But I'm not allowed to get married just yet." "Excuse my brother, Mel," Kate laughed. "I thought he was going to break his neck trying to get in here when he saw you." "I had to hurry," Tim said. "I didn't want some other guy sitting next to my fiancé." "I thought I told you I'm not allowed to get married yet, Tim." "That's okay," he said with a grin that nearly touched his ears. "I'll wait." I looked at Tim and smiled. With his light red hair and blue eyes that seemed to light up when he smiled, he looked like the kind of guy my friends described as dreamy. He was a few inches taller and probably a few pounds heavier than me. I wondered why he was interested in me when there were real girls around. I liked the attention but found it a bit unsettling, not just because he thought I was cute, but because I thought he was too. I didn't have much time to ponder this, as the teacher walked in moments later and started the lesson. I'd deal with boys later. For now, I wanted to focus on class. Kate wanted me to have lunch with her, and Tim was eager for me to join him, but I wanted to be with Barb today. After all, we were sisters and best friends. The rest of the day went so smoothly that I could hardly believe I was actually at school. I'd always hated school, and my grades reflected that. I often fell asleep in class, rarely did my homework, and my old teachers were probably thrilled that the smart-mouthed kid in the back didn't return this year. But today, I found myself paying attention, listening carefully, and even taking notes. Barb was amazed when I told her, insisting on seeing my notebook to believe it. She teased me about being a teacher's pet, but I just laughed it off. I was enjoying school, and I didn't mind her teasing at all. Barb and I walked home together after school, and we even tackled our homework side by side, much to Mom's astonishment. She was thrilled to see us getting along, but she hadn't expected to see me actually doing homework. Once I finished, I headed to my room to change out of my uniform. I was eager to meet up with Kate and my other friends, so I wanted to dress up a bit more than usual. I chose a red and white polka-dotted mini dress with matching panties. The dress was shorter than my usual ones, designed to let a glimpse of the panties peek out occasionally. As I changed, I paused to admire myself in the mirror. Although I usually avoided spending too much time in front of it, tonight was different. I stood there, in just my slip and bra, turning from side to side and checking my reflection from various angles. I wondered why I'd shied away from looking at myself before. I was pretty attractive. After a few more admiring glances, I quickly changed into pantyhose and my outfit before heading out to meet my friends. We had planned to catch up after school to discuss our new classes and other updates, and I was excited to join them. The evening was a blast, filled with laughter and chatter about school. I got my fair share of teasing about Tim. Julie, one of my new friends, even joked that if I wasn't interested in him, she'd be happy to take him off my hands, but I wasn't ready to let him go. After all, he had asked me to marry him. Kate loved my outfit and wanted to know where I'd bought it so she could get one for herself. She complimented how nice I looked and how well the dress fit, and I found myself enjoying the praise. I noticed I was starting to appreciate these compliments more than I used to. It was something new for me, and though I wasn't sure how to handle all these changes, I pushed those thoughts aside for now. We had gossip to catch up on. Kate was eager to share news about a cute boy in her fourth period class, claiming he was the cutest boy in the world. We all argued over who had the cutest boy, and when it was my turn, I giggled and made the other girls promise they wouldn't tell anyone about the boy I liked. Once they swore they'd rather be caught kissing the most awkward boy in school, I described my dream guy, his blue eyes, his adorable freckles, and hair that reminded me of a summer sunrise. The other girls struggled to guess who it was, and Kate was the first to speak up. "You're not serious, are you, Mel?" she giggled. "Please tell me you're not serious." The other girls were puzzled and pressured Kate to reveal the name. Kate hesitated, claiming it was too bizarre to believe unless I confirmed it myself. "Okay, if you insist," I laughed. "His name is Tim." "No, please tell me you're joking," Kate begged. "Not my brother. He's not yours," I teased. "You can't have him. Believe me, Mel, I wouldn't want him. He's just a dumb brother that I'm stuck with." "I'll take him then," I said, laughing. "You'll just be my sister-in-law." Kate wrapped her arm around me, laughing along. She even jokingly offered to have her parents adopt me so we could be sisters, anything to save me from Tim. We laughed and chatted until it was time to head home for dinner, promising to call each other later. Kate and I walked back together, giggling and acting like we were on top of the world. It was such a great time. That night, while soaking in the bathtub, I started reflecting on some changes I'd noticed in myself. I now spend more time choosing what to wear, carefully matching tops with skirts or slacks. I actually enjoy picking out my clothes and deciding between dresses and slacks, with dresses increasingly winning out. There's something enjoyable about getting dressed up, experimenting with different hairstyles, and feeling the smooth sensation of stockings on my legs. I wonder what's happening to me and sometimes think about trying harder to be a boy again, but I'm unsure. If I could convince Mom to let me be a boy, where would I go to school? How would Barb explain the switch from her sister to her brother? I didn't have many friends as Kevin, but Mel has plenty. Barb never got along with her brother but loves her sister. Kevin preferred jeans or shorts, while Mel can choose from dresses, skirts, shorts, or slacks. Kevin grumbled about combing his hair and hated haircuts, but Mel enjoys styling hers with ribbons, bows, and ornaments. Kevin slept in his underwear or PJs, while Mel has a drawer full of nightgowns, long ones, short ones, baby doll styles, and a variety of colors and fabrics. I have flannel ones for winter, cotton ones for summer, and silky nylon ones that feel incredibly nice. All these changes point to me embracing being a girl and enjoying it more and more. I don't know when I started liking being Mel. It wasn't an abrupt shift, but somehow I've become the sweet girl Mom and Barb always wanted, and I once dreaded. A few months ago, I begged Mom to let me out of the dress she put me in. Now, I love wearing pretty dresses and frilly underwear. Compliments on my appearance when I dress up make me feel great. I'm unsure about the future, whether Mom will let me be a boy again or if I even want that, but for now, this is so much fun. Today is my 13th birthday, and Mom promised I could invite a few school friends over for cake and ice cream. I can't wait for school to end. I wish I could have invited Tim, but Mom insisted on an all-girls party, though she promised a mixed party another time. I was practically running home, with Barb struggling to keep up. But when I turned the corner and saw our house, I froze. 2 familiar cars were in the driveway, one belonging to my mother's sister and the other to my dad's sister. They used to visit us regularly at our old house, but I hadn't heard from them since we moved. How was I going to explain that I'm now Melissa? Barb held my hand and told me that she was sure everything would be fine as we walked into the house. I was shaking like a leaf, terrified that I'd be laughed at. After all the last time these people had seen me, I was a nasty, rotten 12-year-old boy. Now they were about to meet Melissa, a pretty, well-mannered young lady. What would they say? As I walked into the room and set my books down, I was horrified to see that Dad's sister had brought her parents along and Mom's mother was there too. I wanted to run and hide, but before I could, my grandfather called for me to come in and sit down. I summoned up the last bit of courage I had and with Barb at my side walked into the room to meet my family. I felt as if their stares were going to drill holes right through me as I said hello, but everyone smiled and said how happy they were to see me again. My aunts and grandmothers were kissing me and telling me how pretty I looked, but I was still worried about my grandfather. How would he take seeing me all done up as a girl? He had to figure that along with the curly hair and girls' school uniform went the right underwear, and since I had already taken off my blazer, he couldn't miss the straps of my bra. Finally, the women finished up with me, and Grandma put her arm around my shoulder and turning me to her husband asked what he thought of me. "I think you're a very pretty young lady, Melissa." He beamed. "I'm proud to have such good-looking granddaughters." "You don't think I'm a sissy?" I asked, dreading the coming reply. Grandpa put his arms around me, hugged me, then gave me a kiss on the cheek. "Are you happy?" he asked calmly. "Yes, I am," I said as calmly as I could. "I don't think I should be, but I really am. You're a lovely young lady, Melissa. Your mom tells me you have a lot of friends and you and your sister are as close as any sisters could be. Why shouldn't you be happy?" "But I'm a boy. I shouldn't be dressed like this and I shouldn't like it." "You were a rotten boy that even I didn't like, Mel," he said reassuringly. "Now I understand you're the sweetest girl anyone could hope for. Enjoy your new life, sweetheart. A pretty young thing like you should be happy." I was so happy that I started to cry. Grandpa dried my tears with his hanky and kissed me again. "Looks like everything worked like you said it would," he said to Mom. "She's become quite a girl." Mom looked at Grandpa with a "you just let the cat out of the bag" expression on her face. "What worked, Mom?" I asked, smelling a rat. "What's he talking about?" By now everyone was looking at my grandfather with the same expression as Mom had. Finally my aunt asked me to sit down and she'd explain everything. First she started to ask how I felt about wearing girls' stuff and pretending to be a girl. She nodded her head understandingly when I told her how I used to hate it but had gradually come to enjoy it. Next she asked if I had noticed anything odd physically. I had to think for a moment, but then I realized I wasn't getting any taller and my voice wasn't cracking like the boys at school. Instead it seemed to have lowered just a little bit and become smoother. The last question she asked was if there were any cute boys at school. I blushed for a moment when I thought of Tim and noticed everyone in the room nodding their heads in understanding. My aunt explained that Mom had repeatedly told them how difficult I was and how nothing seemed to calm me down. Everyone had been worried that if something wasn't done, I might end up in trouble with the law before I turned 18. When Mom hit the lottery, It allowed them to pursue Grandma's suggestion, transforming me into a girl. Dad's sister, a doctor, had noted that men who stopped producing male hormones tended to become less aggressive, though this also led to more feminine physical traits. Since I hadn't yet gone through puberty, starting female hormones would prompt my body to develop like a teenage girl's. Grandma proposed that since my body would naturally evolve in this direction, it would be best if I lived entirely as a girl. Mom agreed, fearing that if I looked like a girl but dressed like a boy, I'd be teased as a sissy and bullied. Her goal was to prevent me from getting into more trouble. They helped Mom find a new house and relocate so I could start over as Melissa, without anyone wondering what had happened to Kevin. Grandpa's lawyer friend managed to change my birth certificate to list me as Melissa and Roth and updated my school records. With the help of another friend whose child attended the same school, the administrators allowed me to enroll as long as I maintained my identity as Melissa and kept it confidential. The pills I took for hay fever were actually estrogen tablets, prescribed by my aunt in a low dose to gradually induce female development. When I hit puberty a month later, the changes accelerated. My voice, instead of deepening, smoothed out like a woman's. I was informed that any weight gain would now be distributed to my hips and butt, and the development of my chest would soon give me the figure of a teenage girl. By the time I was Barb's age, I would likely need a bra and resemble her current appearance. Everyone watched, waiting for my reaction. A wave of relief washed over them when I smiled and thanked them for all they had done. I was happier than I had ever been, all thanks to their willingness to take such bold measures to help me. I took my grandmothers by the hand and offered to show them my bedroom, eager to display my pretty clothes and dolls. I invited Grandpa, but he declined, saying he wasn't fond of dolls. It's a shame, he doesn't know what he's missing. Mom mentioned an upcoming special dinner at the hospital where she volunteers and wants Barb and me to wear the matching gowns we bought. I'm thrilled about wearing my beautiful new gown, but even more excited about how I'll look in my bikini next summer. Tim won't know what hit him,